Hey, everybody, and welcome to the 21st episode of Brent Ewing's Hey Buddy podcast and week 5 of the Michigan football, Big Ten football podcast with my co host Bub Dunn. We're going to talk about Michigan's 3 overtime win over Rutgers, how far the Michigan program has fallen when we get excited about a triple overtime win in Piscataway. We're going to talk about the Buckeyes win over Indiana and Columbus. We touch on the rest of the Big Ten, a surprising Northwestern team makes a big stand against Wisconsin this weekend. So without further ado, we're going to hop right into it. I hope you guys enjoy the show.
Year 6 of Harbaugh era, did you ever think we would be going to triple overtime to beat Rutgers?
I did not. In fact, I think we have had one since, but I don't remember. The last triple overtime game I really remember, and we'll give a shout out to Wade on this one, was the triple overtime at Indiana during Wade's wedding. We were going next door or into another house or something there by the church or at the church to catch what we could of that one.
Yeah, that was Illinois, not Indiana.
Was it Illinois? Oh, I was thinking that was Indiana.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why I was thinking that was Indiana.
Yeah, man, that was.
I do remember.
That was 2010, dude.
Wow.
That was a crazy game. Wade was getting married, and we're like, dude, you're gonna have to hold this wedding up because we're sitting over here watching this game. I mean, 3 overtime, 67-65 final that game, man. It was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, who actually gets married on a day that Michigan has a game? Well, especially when 2 Michigan fans are in the wedding.
Exactly. What a jerk. Of course, Buckeyes were off that weekend. Jerk.
Of course.
Only thinking about himself on his wedding day. That's unbelievable.
Exactly. It's ridiculous.
So yeah, shout out to you, Wade, if you remember who we are. Shit. Well, man, let's hop into it, dude. Let's hop into this Michigan Rutgers matchup. First thoughts, dude. Start of the game, had a nice little 3 and out. Got the ball, had a nice little drive going. Nice pass to Eubanks to open up the game. Big gainer to Cornelius Johnson, who fumbles the ball. And right there, the whole momentum just starts to flip. It's like, here we go again, man. I mean, Milton, though, in those 2 passes, Milton looked crisp.
Yeah, I agree. He did. Defensive-wise, to start, obviously, Rutgers took the ball first. And, I don't think it was a 3 and out. They may have had 1 first down, but pretty good defensive stand to begin with. We get the ball back and, pass and another pass. I'm like, all right, they're trying something. They're running up the middle. And he catches, turns, and then boom, fumble. And I was like, well, yep, there we go.
Right.
I hate to say that it's expected when something like that happens, but it just seems like that's what happens.
Absolutely. And, they got the ball back, but we held them again. We got the ball back. Come down, we get to I think it was like 4th and 6. We have to punt. They run into the kicker. I'm like, okay, 4th and 1. Again, we're going to pick this up. We got a 6'5" quarterback. We go shotgun again and try to sneak, and we fall short. Why do you think they keep running that same play? First of all, where's Ben Mason? What's happened to Ben Mason?
I don't know because, I mean, for anyone who listens, if you don't watch a lot of Michigan football, past couple of years, man, he is your goal line. I need 1, 2 good hard yards, man. Give it to Ben Mason. He is going to get the ball and just give it everything he has.
And I think even Khalid Hill had tweeted after that about, dude, give it to the fullback. He's like, I scored 4 or 5 touchdowns that year, on the 1 yard line. Give him the ball. And
Exactly.
If you need that 1 yard, man, Mason's a beast. Or just get under center. Just get under center and go up the middle. I don't understand that. I get the whole speed and space concept is not done under center, but good Lord, it ain't working.
No, but right in that situation, you don't need speed and space. You need, 1 yard or less, 3 feet. So, line up, go under center, figure out where the nose guard is on what side of the center, and go to the other side.
Right. I guess I'm just saying that, I don't think have they ran any plays from under center this year?
Not that I remember.
None stick
Not
out.
saying they haven't, but
you would think that's what it's going to be.
Really not something I really pay much attention to, but other than in certain situations like that, because obviously we're like, well, what the heck are you doing, dude? Go under center. You need 2 feet.
Right. And that, again, they stop us there. So, again, we give that momentum right back to them. And on the very next play, 43-yard touchdown pass. And maybe, I think it was to Bo Melton. Was it Melton that scored that TD pass?
I think it was.
Man, he absolutely ran right past Jamon Green. But what was Dax Hill doing on that play? That was, he looked lazy. After that, after he knew he lost contain, he looked lazy. He didn't hustle.
Yeah.
I was really disappointed. I felt overall this was his worst game. I thought Dax played really poorly.
I agree.
He had a play earlier that, what was a deep completion for Rutgers there that should have been caught. Maybe that was the play I'm thinking of, right? Because it wasn't a touchdown pass. That was just a 43-yard. I'm mixing up my my big plays here. That was in the third quarter. The play I'm talking about. This play was the one that Vedral kind of lofted it up there, and Dax went for an interception instead of trying to knock it down, but he jumped behind the guy. It's like, well, dude, you could have at least knocked it down, but he was behind the guy and kind of alligator armed it. They got beat there, and then a couple plays later, they punch it in for the first touchdown, 7-0 Rutgers, and not too long after that, it's 14-0 Rutgers.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like you say, they get the touchdown, we get the ball back, and there was some bad play calling that we had. I thought was really bad. There was a real big blitz that Rutgers came with off the corner. That guy was pretty much untouched. I can't remember if that was on second down. I think it was on second down, which obviously put us into a long third down situation.
Right.
And it's, the way it is, it's been tough for them to pick up those long third downs. And, we put the ball back. It went back and forth a couple times after that. I think we had a decent defensive stand there, get the ball back, but still couldn't do anything with it. And end up punting it back. And then, they end up getting another touchdown, go up 14-0.
Just unreal. In between that was probably of Milton's short career, the best pass I've seen him throw was that little kind of 30-yard little touch pass to Giles Jackson. I thought he put that in a perfect spot. Giles made a nice catch, ran right under it. Just that touch was perfect. It's like, man, where's that guy at consistently? Because he tends to just want to wing that ball. But man, there it kind of showed a glimpse of maybe what he could do.
Right, it's what he could do. But that's the problem is he doesn't do it consistently. So many times he gets that I'm going. It's either all or nothing. He's got a super strong arm, but he just he lacks wind to put that touch on it.
Exactly.
And it's like the most of the time he just has way too much zip on it. So, but and I hate to obviously bash on anyone because these kids are giving it their all, but five straight drives, and obviously you can't fault him for the first drive when Johnson fumbles because he actually looked pretty decent those first two passes. Like you said, they were crisp passes, they were on point. But you fumble the first one, 4th and 1, you don't convert. The next drive, it's a punt, another punt, and then you're down 14-0. Rutgers, which surprised me a lot, they kicked an onside kick.
Right.
I did not expect that. Obviously, Michigan didn't expect that, considering we had a normal receiving setup. But they hit the guy before it went 10 yards, so obviously it was a penalty, so they had to re-kick. But again, even then, he had that one big throw, and he did take another throw downfield, which actually was I can't remember who it was to, but he was wide open, but he threw it too late.
Yes. Yeah.
He needed to throw it about 2 steps earlier, and it would have been perfect. But
that was to Ronnie Bell down the right side, and Bell had to go up and try to knock it away from the defender. Yep. Exactly.
2 steps, and just that not being able to see that he needs to get rid of that ball quicker. They get a sack, and then we have to punt. So 5 straight possessions. You have a fumble, a fourth that you don't convert. You have to get rid of the ball, and then 3 straight punts.
Right.
So, and like you said, 1, maybe 2 decent passes. That's out of 5 drives. I'm sorry, that's just not good enough.
Yeah, I think obviously at that point he was 5 for 12 with about 4 minutes 18 seconds left in the second. They pull him. They bring McNamara in, who again I said last week, Cade should have started the game.
I agree.
With Milton under center, the passing game is non-existent, so the running game is getting shut down. The running game couldn't get anything going with Milton out there, but Cade comes in.
No, because they just put the box, everyone in the box.
Yeah, right. Because make the quarterback beat you, and they've seen in his first 4 or 5 games that he can't beat you. So yeah, man, load that box up, and I'll tell you what, Michael Dwumfor was everywhere. That dude was putting pressure all night. Obviously, former Wolverine.
Dude, I agree. Yeah, I hate to obviously I hate the transfer, but I love to see a kid do good. If he's not got the position or be able to play out there, he goes to a place where he can play. I love to see the kid do good.
I'd love to see
he had a great night.
He did. We could obviously use him still in that line, man. He only had two. He only had 2 tackles, but he had pressure a lot.
Exactly.
But again, man, Milton was 1 for his last 8. They bring Cade in on that first drive. You can just see everything change, man. The momentum changed. Everybody's getting pumped. The running backs are running harder. It seems like people were blocking better. Cade goes 2 for 2 on that first drive. There was a 46-yard, beautiful touchdown pass to Cornelius Johnson. Get us back in the game, 17-7. Continues. We have another drive late in the half. We get down. He puts us in field goal range. Threw a nice pass to Samer Still on the sidelines. He made a nice catch to stay in bounds. And kickers, right? So of course.
Well, I will say this. Obviously, the first field goal he just straight up missed. That's on him.
Yeah.
This one. It was a bad snap. It was a high snap, and you can see when he went forward, he had to stop and then to get going a little bit. So yeah, you can't put that one on him. But,
absolutely. And a first time starter, Carpenter's starting for the first time, so I get that. And I forgot to mention Nordine's miss earlier, so this was his second miss of the game.
Exactly. Like I said, you can't put that on him. With a bad snap.
Totally agree. The only thing that I really take issue with there is I don't know if you caught it, but I caught it in one of the Twitter posts. I went back and watched the game today, and as he was walking off the field, he's yelling at somebody. I'm assuming it's the center, and he says, "Do your effing job." And I'm thinking, all right, Jack, you got to be a better.
First off, he needs to do his job.
Exactly. So I don't
even if you take the bad snap out, he was still 0 for 2.
Exactly.
So yeah, he needs to do his job.
Yeah, so karma came back to bite him in the butt a little bit later in the game, which we'll touch on obviously, but you can't do that. Again, first time starter at center, man. Right. Again, you got to give the guy a little leeway, but I don't know. Just bad all around. We shouldn't have to be relying on a first time starter at center. I get we have, we're still depleted by injuries. Injuries are just crushing this team right now. Another injury in the game. Cam McGrone now looks like he may be out for the year.
There's actually another one, Hawkins. Yeah.
Yep, Hawkins got hurt.
Which I will say this. I mean, we skipping ahead because I think that was in the second half. But when he went out, Hunter Reynolds, when he came in, he made quite a few decent plays.
He did.
I was actually rather impressed.
He held his own.
And there was one I remember when he threw to the end zone. And he actually picked it up, followed the ball, and it would have had a pick, but the receiver actually ran into him.
Right. Yeah.
But I was rather impressed with him.
Me as well. Maybe that gives them somebody to look at next week to throw in there if Hawkins can't go.
Right.
But one thing going back. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sure.
What I was going to say is going back to the first quarter and really the first half. The running backs, man, they just did not get. I don't understand what's going on with Zach Charbonnet. It's like he's only in there now to block. Which I don't get it, man. This kid's a highly touted recruit. He's coming off a really good season last year where he set the freshman, touchdown record. And he's just not getting to carry the ball. He didn't have a carry in the first quarter. He ended up, I think, with like 6 or 7 for the game. But I know Haskins, got the bulk of the carries. And looking at it, Haskins may be a little bit bigger, a little bit shiftier, a little bit better runner right now. But you got to split carries with these two. I don't know why he's not getting the ball. I'm afraid it's going to lead to some, where there's smoke, there's fire. It's going to lead to some transfer rumors, and I don't want to see this kid leave.
Yeah, I agree. I don't either. And I think really, like you were talking about the first half there, it's tough because with Milton in, it seems like they don't get a whole lot of chances running the ball because it seems
a lot of 3 and outs.
It's a lot of 3 and outs, or it's just a lot of him having to try to throw the ball to catch up right now. Obviously, if we're up, which we pretty much haven't been other than the very first game we played, that's when you're going to see a lot of the runs, because they're going to grind the clock down and just
Sure.
run the ball.
Sure.
But we haven't had that. They've had to rely on them passing right now. So I really think that's a big part of them not getting a lot of carries is just because we've had to throw the ball a lot. So, and like you said, Haskins is a little bigger, a little shiftier, but I still like Charbonnet's speed. And I think he's a great runner.
Yeah, me too.
I don't want him to transfer, but I think hopefully if we could get a decent lead, you might see some of those numbers jump up when it comes to the carries.
I would like to see at least 10 to 15 carries each for him and Haskins, and anybody else.
Right.
If Evan gets a few here or there, that's fine. I like Evans in the slot a little bit better. I like him coming out of the backfield. Maybe put two backs back there and do some wheel routes or whatever. But
right. He definitely is a good catches the ball out of the backfield better than any of them. I think.
Very well, yeah. So we go into halftime down 17-7. Got a little momentum there toward the end, with Cade coming in, and then third quarter starts. 95-yard kickoff return by Jackson, just fantastic return. Not even close to being touched down the sideline.
No, he was not.
Beautiful blocking.
Yeah. I agree. Like you said, with the momentum, going to the end of that end of the half. When Cade come in, like you said, it completely changed the game. It seemed like everyone was the team was up. They were, it's like they're behind him more than they are Milton. And I hate to say that, but that's just what it seems like.
Oh, 100%.
On the sidelines, they just, like you said, they run harder, they block better. He just had that spark when he came in. 3 plays and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Kick the ball off. They end up punting back to us, and you've got, what was it? I can't remember exactly how much time was it. 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And he just puts together a great drive. I mean, he mixed it up. He hit Evans, Eubanks, all bell. I mean, just pass, run, gets him down there with 1 second left. Yeah, we missed a field goal, but just him having that spark and to be able to push the offense down the field, and then to come out in the second half and have have him just bust up the sideline. It was like a huge momentum shift right there.
Yeah, man, Jackson, he's so quick. He's so shifty. There's times in the past where he's fielded kickoffs or punts, and I've been like, dude, what are you doing? Like, he takes chances, man. So if I'll live with that if you're going to break one every once in a while. But,
right.
cut that down to 17-14. Okay, we got that momentum coming in. And daggone it, if it wasn't the next drive, that's where Vedral hit Melton for that huge touchdown pass.
Yes, it was. That's the one you were talking about with Dax.
Correct. Dax just looked lost.
He came down. I watched that again. It almost looked like he was going to throw under. Like he thought that he was going to throw under. So he came in, and the guy never stopped. He just kept running. And then by that point in time, he was long gone. There was no way he was going to catch him.
Exactly. It's like, dude, we talk about putting the defensive backs on the island. Well, we put a safety back there for him.
And the safety didn't even help.
Yeah, you're literally the safety, dude. And then, like I said, when he knew he was burnt, he just he pulled up. It was, I didn't like it. I didn't like what I saw. I hope it's not something that's indicative of, man, I got beat, so I'm just going to be lazy. He wasn't going to catch the guy, but run hard, man.
No.
Run hard after him. Something could happen. Jamon could catch him. Maybe he fumbles. Maybe you could pick it up. Anything could happen, but he got totally burnt right there.
Yeah, he did.
So, that puts them back up by 10. And again, Cade puts together another fantastic drive, which ends with hitting a little pop pass to Eubanks in the end zone for a 24-21 score.
I love that too. I love that.
Nice call.
But the good thing there was they actually got something going with the run game. And I'm not saying they were busting runs, everywhere, but they weren't getting. It wasn't, hey, let's run up the middle and get 1 yard or no gain. They were actually getting 3, 4, occasionally 5 or 6. And then I think there was a Haskins right before that. I think maybe a play or two before that touchdown. He went right up the middle for like 25 yards.
Oh, beautiful.
So that to me really is what set that up, because then they were keying on that run, because they were like, well, we can't let him run right up the middle again. So when he, with the play action and then just turning and just lobbing that up, it was perfect, because the whole defense was looking for the run.
That's one thing I read a lot too. I read a lot on the blogs and the boards and listen to some other podcasts and stuff, and them talking about Haskins. with Harbaugh, the deal is how can he? It seems like he doesn't develop that talent. 2 years ago, Haskins was a linebacker. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
why wasn't this guy running the ball then? Like,
Yeah, when I remember when he was changed to a running back, and I was like, what? With everyone that we are able to recruit, why are we changing a linebacker to a running back as opposed to just recruiting running backs? Like, what happened there?
right?
It didn't really make sense to me, but obviously it's working pretty good because he's made a pretty good name for himself.
Yeah, man, he's done well, and I think he kind of solidified himself last night as probably the number one right now. But again, I want to see 1A, 1B. I want to see him and Charbonnet kind of splitting carries. You got to give Zach the ball. You got to keep his head in it, man. You can't have him to start checking out already.
Yeah.
So yeah,
if he's only going to get a couple carries a game, he's going to be like, yeah, I'm just going to get a few. So what's the point? And that's what you don't want.
For sure, man. It's got to be frustrating. I mean, he comes in as a highly touted recruit, and then, first play of the year, he gets a handoff, and he runs it 70 yards, and then he just carries less than 20 times the next 4 games, and I just don't understand that. But Rutgers was able to take the ball down and take a 27-21 lead on a field goal. So, big play at the start of the fourth when we picked up a huge 4th and 5. Just a huge 4th down. Typically, we're not great in that spot, but we pick up a huge 4th and 5.
And that slant was a slant to Evans.
Yeah, little Evans out of the backfield there, man. Dude, out of the slot. Yeah, Evans looks good coming out of there. I like that dimension. I think that's a little place we could put Roman Wilson a little more, Henning a little more, even Corum in that spot maybe next year. But I love that play, man.
I do too. And I tell you, he's a very versatile player, and I really like he's good for – you can put him in – you know how the Patriots, the way they a few years back, they had enough personnel to where they could run multiple sets.
Absolutely.
With the same people in the field. Mm-hmm. He would be one of those because he's very fast out of the backfield, but he's one of those guys, he's shifty, coming out of the backfield and running, but then you can put him right into a slot receiver position without having to change any personnel on the field.
I agree.
Which is huge, when you're trying to go up tempo and not allow the defense to get set and all that stuff. You can really change the dynamic of the game with that.
For sure. Maybe he gets a look at the next level. I don't think he'll be drafted, but he might be able to go in and make somebody's practice squad, and maybe he would make a good kid for like the Patriots, a team like that likes to use those shifty backs.
Yep, and I think actually that drive that we were just talking about when Evans got that 4th, that was actually the drive that Michael Dwumfor was being a beast on.
Oh, yes. He was all up in Cade's face, dude.
Yeah.
Knocked him down a couple times, yeah.
Yeah, I hate that. I was mad, but I was happy for him, It's just one of those love-hate type situations right there.
Exactly. But, that ends with a beautiful little slant from Sanders Still for a touchdown.
Yes.
A nice little pick set by Ronnie Bell. Luckily, that wasn't called.
Yes.
That was nice. You saw how pumped Bell got about that, so that was nice.
I do. Yep. And I tell you, I think the reason that – because when I saw it, I was like, ooh, that's an interference right there.
Right.
But I think the reason it was not was because he didn't make it to where he was trying to set the interference. He actually got himself set and turned around almost like it was going to be like a button hook, like a pass.
Right.
So I think that's the only reason that did not get called. But he actually – there was that one, and a little bit later in the game, he had another super good block that he got a touchdown on. So kudos to him for, not only obviously, running his great routes and doing what he does, but even if the ball's not coming to him, man, he is doing everything he can to get the other receivers blocked so that they can get down there.
He's clearly the heart of that team right now. It's
for sure.
It's good to see. I wasn't a huge fan. Last year he had some drops. The big drop in the Penn State game last year was crushing. He had some other drops here and there, but the more I watch the kid, he plays hard. He plays hard. He pumps everybody up, and they'll feed off that. And again, with Cade coming in, Cade was just cool as a cucumber. It never seemed like the game was bigger, than what he was playing. Whereas Milton shows no emotion. And Dad continues to say that. He's like, man, I like this kid, but I wish he would show more emotion. And Cade comes in and it completely changes. I mean, he wasn't jumping up and down and, all that stuff, but you could tell just that he's got swagger. Cade has that swagger.
He does, and I love it.
See, absolutely.
I love it because, again, like we said last week, with those players, man, they're going to feed off that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can show just a little bit of emotion to show the rest of your team that, hey, I'm here and I am in this game and I'm going to get everything I got, they're going to feed off of it and they're going to give it everything they got.
Absolutely. And that touchdown pass to Sanders still put us up 28-27, and they showed a stat that's just was depressing as all get out. That's the first lead that Michigan had in the last 3 games.
I know.
Never led Wisconsin, never led Indiana, never led Michigan State.
I know.
That's brutal.
Really sad, yeah. It is rough.
Absolutely brutal.
And I hate to say this, but and it's obviously doesn't really mean anything because you can't change what has already happened. But what do you think maybe the difference if, say, Milton didn't start? What if it was? And I'm going back again like we were talking last week with Dylan. Obviously, Dylan's out. He's gone. But what if Cade had started last week's game or the week before?
Yeah. I mean, it makes you question their...
Well, you just don't know. That's the thing.
And it makes you question their evaluation of talent. It's like, I don't... this is the same guy who started John O'Corn. Like, I don't see what you're seeing.
I don't either. And again, anyone who watches it, like if you have watched this season, it really makes you want to just be like, what in the world is going on in Harbaugh's mind? Especially if you've watched the end of last game and basically the end of this past game with Cade in there, because he has just completely outplayed Milton in every aspect of the quarterback position.
Absolutely.
So it makes you wonder why Milton's was even starting to begin with. But I don't know.
I get it. You just got to move forward now, I guess, man. It sucks.
Yeah.
It's got it to a point, though, where, like we talked, I don't turn games off. I never turn games off. I turn this game off.
I know you did, because I texted you and you were like, I'm watching Oklahoma State, and I was like, oh. I wasn't going to say anything. I didn't know, because I didn't know if you were still watching, like on a different TV, on your phone or something like that.
Right. But
I was still sitting there watching, and I was like, okay. Cade came in, and he's starting to look good now. And now it's like, oh crap, we have a 1-point lead. Now we have a 8-point lead. And I'm like, I wonder if Brent's watching this or if he's still watching the other game.
Like I said, I turned it off, but I was still recording it. I recorded it, in the other room. And I was like, no, I can't do this right now. I got to decompress a little bit. So I watched Oklahoma, and my God, I love that. I love their offense. They might be my second favorite team right now, dude.
They're fun to watch.
My gosh, I love watching them play. They had a rivalry game. They go out and jump up 21-0 real quick. Just like that's how you do it.
Yeah, Lincoln Riley's a heck of a coach, too.
Oh, he's unbelievable. And if he wants to, that guy will be there for the next 25 years. Like, that's a nice sell to recruits, huh? But anyway, I I took the rest of the game off. I put my phone away. I felt it buzz a couple times. I was like, I know that's Bub, but I can't look at it. I think I ate me a sandwich or something. I watched an episode of the first 48. I was like, I need a different mind space right now. I'm like, I'm watching a murder on the football field. I might as well try to solve a murder here on the first 48.
There you go.
So after that went off, Dad came and he said, hey, man, are you watching a game? I was like, I don't want to know. He's like, well, it's getting closer. I was like, I got it recording. I just don't want to know. I'll watch it in a little bit. So I picked it back up a little bit later, and I honestly can't remember the exact. I think when I picked it up, it was just starting the second half. Actually, I think that's when I fast forward through the halftime, and I got to the second half, and I was pleasantly surprised.
You weren't too far behind then, yeah.
Yeah, pleasantly surprised. So, but yeah, talking about that, we took that 28-27 lead. Then we had a good defensive stand. Cade drives us down the field again late in the game. Throws to Johnson for a 38-27 lead. Nice little pass. Nice move by Johnson. Great drive.
That honestly may have been the best drive I have seen this whole season so far. Yeah. I mean,
Haskins running hard.
It was just a perfect mix of run, pass, screens, hits to the outside, hard runs up the middle. I mean, you could not have orchestrated a better drive, honestly. Like, it was perfect.
I agree.
You know, and like you said, they go up 8. And I'm like, okay, there's 5 minutes left. And I'll be danged if they didn't run that almost a whole 5 minutes off of that clock. And what I just said was probably one of the best offensive drives of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Completely, the next drive, defensive drive, may have been the worst defensive drive I have seen of this whole season.
It was pretty bad.
Dude, like 5 minutes and 7 seconds is what was on the clock when Rutgers got the ball. And I actually, I went back and watched it again, and just in that 5 minutes, where they had a pass and a run for a first down.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had a pass for a first down. Then they had a 3rd and 3, in which, and I know we've talked about this before, but if someone ever teaches that team how to defend a slant,
it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal.
Oh my God, dude. Oh. So pass, run for a first down, pass for a first down. 3rd and 3, they run a slant, first down.
Yep.
3rd and 8, they run a slant for a first down. 3rd and 11, guess what they did?
Yep.
Yeah, they ran a slant for a first down. I mean, so then by this point in time, I mean, they have ran almost the whole time off the clock. And I'm like, okay, guys, just do something. One play is all you really need. So they get to the 4th. 3rd and 9, he has to throw it away. I'm like, okay, 4th down. We're good here. We should be able to get a stop. They get pressure. Like, they actually got pressure on the QB, and he stepped up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, he's going to take off running. He needs like 12 yards. He's not going to make it. No, he throws for a touchdown. And I'm like, there were 3 people right there. Why could someone not knock that down?
Right into traffic, man. Right into traffic. I'm like, I don't know if that was a better pass or just poor defense.
I
mixture
don't.
Of both.
I think it was both. But I mean, that was the worst drive I had seen. They had 5 first downs and then a touchdown, which counts. So 6 first downs on that drive.
Yeah,
and just under 5 minutes.
And 3 of those first downs were on 3rd down, and 1 was on 4th down.
Exactly. That's pathetic. Like, that is absolutely pathetic. And then you turn around, and I was I'll give it to Shiano for this one, because I did not expect a run from the QB.
How gutsy is that?
That takes some guts, man. Because like I said, I did not expect that whatsoever. And he took off running, and I was like, there's no way he's going to. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he made it.
Yep.
I was like, oh my gosh, I can't handle this anymore.
Just a roller coaster of emotions.
It was.
I couldn't enjoy it. Even when Michigan was up 35-27, they're up 8 on that last drive. I'm like, okay, just waiting for the worst. What's going to happen? And
even the announcer said it. He's like, this was back when they hit the first or the second first down. And he's like, starting off, well, they still got to go the length of the field and then get a 2-point conversion. Well, they made it look pretty easy, man.
Yeah, they did.
It's exactly what you just said they needed to do.
They made it look extremely easy. But, yeah, man, so, that happens. They leave us a little bit of time on the clock. We can't do anything with it. So, goes into overtime. Of course, we get the ball first. And what do? Incomplete pass, run. So, here comes Nordine now. All right, man, this is decent field goal. He's going to make this one. He's going to, redeem himself. Nope. Misses it. Just no excuse for it. I mean, absolutely no excuse. This makes Michigan's field goal kickers 2 for 8 on the season. Just unreal. At that point, I was like, it's like legit. That's it.
Yeah.
Field goal in overtime.
You miss a field goal in overtime. You turn around and that all Rutgers has to do is, even if they can't get anywhere, all they can do is make a field goal.
Right. And then, Rutgers...
And obviously their kickers are better than ours.
Whose aren't?
That's the truth, yeah.
They kind of hold Rutgers on 3rd down. Rutgers just kind of runs to center the ball a little bit. Okay, we're going to win this game. And dang if their kicker doesn't shank one. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? Like, dude, I'll say it every week if I have to. Kickers are the most worthless spot in sports. I hate kickers. It's like the setup man in baseball. I don't get it. I don't like it. Just worthless. But,
I agree.
So
I was very surprised honestly, because I thought for sure when we missed that kick, I was like, well, that's the game, man, right there, right there.
And you know,
And
that's
then they miss it, and I was like, wow, like what's
I think
I'm
that's
very
the most
surprised, but
I think that's the most excited I've seen Harbaugh in about 4 years, jumping up and down on the sidelines after Rutgers misses a field goal in overtime to keep us in the game. And this is year 6, I'm saying that, right?
yeah, that's pretty sad, honestly.
Dude, 4 years ago, we went into that stadium, won 78-0.
Oh, I know. It's unbelievable, honestly. Like, I've got a couple other little stats here that I wrote down, but we'll save that for after we get done talking here.
So we go into double overtime, and
first play,
the very first play, a nice little rollout and a throwback for a touchdown, dude. Wow.
I will say this: that honestly, you always see, when the defense is rushing, you're like, oh, he's going to get him. Nope, there comes a screen pass.
Right.
And that may have been, honestly, one of the best setups for a screen pass I have ever seen, because I was that guy. I was like, oh, there's 3 people. He is toast. No, there goes oh crap.
Yep, very well.
And then he was gone. And I was like, wow. I mean, I applaud. I applaud. What is his name? Vedrick, is that his name?
Vedral, yeah.
Vedral. I applaud him for that, because that was an absolute beautiful way to luring the defense in and tossing that up, and it was perfect.
That reminded me of the Denard to Vincent Smith play in Under the Lights 1. That little throwback, man, that was beautiful. Nice. But we were, man. So pressure's on us, pressure's on us. We got to score.
Yeah, immediately pressure.
A little quarterback keep to the left side for Cade. He runs in to tie it up, dude. That shows some guts right there. That's something that Milton just can't do. I don't know if he doesn't read it right. If he tries to wait and tries to find Cade's like, okay, I'm taking it. And I'm heading out to the left, man. I'm gone.
Yeah, I tell you what though, I was a little worried there, just because like the first play we ran up the middle for pretty much nothing. He rolls out, he hits Giles. Then there's a face mask penalty. We move up a little further.
Mm-hmm.
And with him running the ball in like that, there was a couple times in the game previous, this game, but a little bit earlier, that I saw Cade. One of them was like a speed option, and one of them was another little keeper. And I don't like the way he runs the ball. I just like Milton with his frame, he gets out there and he can run it. But to me, Cade is he's more of a passer. Like, he's either handoff or pass. I would rather see him do that, because when he did run that ball a couple times, I was like, you didn't really get anywhere, man. Like, I don't know if it was the wrong read or what happened, but I was a little nervous when he took off. But then it opened up and he turned his back and tossed himself into the end zone. And I was like, yep, that was a good way to finish that drive right there.
Do you notice the way he throws the ball? Did you notice how
the sidearm motion?
Well, the fact he wears a glove on his throwing hand, but he doesn't grip the laces. He holds it on the back side of the ball. Nope, holds it on the back side of the ball.
I did not notice that at all.
At least he did on. I can't remember what play. It was a play late. Can't remember if it was I can't remember what play it was, but they specifically showed it. Saw it coming out of his hand. I was like, holy smokes! It might have been the slant to Samerstill. Go back if you still have it recorded or whatever. Go back and watch it.
I will. I've got it recorded.
Like, holy smokes! And he kind of almost has a not as ugly motion, but almost a little bit of Phillip Rivers in there.
I was going to say Phillip Rivers. I knew it. Right? He does. Yeah, he's got that kind of. He's got a good. I think it's more situational because he's got a good throw to him. Mm-hmm. But in that situation where, like, if he's got someone in his face and he needs to go to the side, he'll drop sidearm and throw it like that. You do what you got to do, but I don't know. I mean, I was pretty impressed with him taking that ball in like that.
Me too, man. So that takes us into overtime number 3, 42-42, and of course we have a we get it to 3rd and 18, man. So I'm thinking, oh no, another field goal. But then we get a big pass interference call in the end zone.
Yeah, that was huge.
Huge call. Takes us inside the 10. But daggone, just, they're Michigan, so they can't make it easy. They get
right. No, we got to run again,
Yep.
and then on fourth down we have to run it.
Yep, get it to the 1 yard line, 4th and 1. Luckily, Haskins was able to come and kind of jump over the pile and get in for the touchdown to take that 48-42 lead. But no dice on the 2-point conversion, unfortunately. So 48-42, man, going with Rutgers getting the ball. What were your thoughts? You think, man, we got to end this here? This is gonna happen?
I was very nervous, honestly, because they didn't get the 2-point conversion.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought for sure, just the way the defense is kind of played, I was like, they're going to get the touchdown. I don't know how they're going to get it, but they're going to get it. And then they're going to end up getting their 2-point conversion to win because we didn't get ours. But, we were able to get a little bit of pressure, when their runs and when they threw the ball up. I think it was incomplete pass, good, pretty decent defense. And then he threw that last one up on 4th, and we actually got a pick there at the end.
Right.
Which was, hey, good defense. The safeties knew where they were supposed to be.
I was like, okay, good. This 4.5 hours. Because I had to work this morning. I was like, great. Now it's 12:30 and I got to get up and.
Yeah. I know. I was sitting there. Everyone was asleep. Chris was laying on the bed. Casey was laying beside me. I'm sitting there eyes glued to the TV. There's no way I can go to sleep. And everyone else is snoring. I'm just like, what's wrong with you people?
I hate it, man, because like we talked about last week, I'm kind of to that point where I'm not enjoying it. Even the win, I couldn't enjoy the win because it's just so frustrating. At Michigan, you shouldn't be 48-42 with Rutgers. Rutgers is on the uptick. Shiano's a really good coach, but
yes, I agree, and that's actually one thing I was going to say because, like I said, I had some stuff wrote down. Rutgers, and I give it to Shiano, man. They had a stat, and you probably saw it on the game last year. Through 4 Big Ten games, the first 4 Big Ten games of the season, Rutgers had 7 points and 1 touchdown in 4 Big Ten games.
Wow.
This year, they have 106 points off of 14 touchdowns. So in 1 year, he has 99 more points and 13 more touchdowns through in the same amount of Big Ten games.
Amazing what good coaching can do, huh?
It does. I mean, like I said, obviously, Rutgers, I expect us to just be able to have the same season we had last year, which, was a win by 70 or whatever it is. But I do not expect to give up 42 points to Rutgers. But, again, props to Shiano for good coaching and getting his team in a position to win against some of these teams. I mean, he's done a great job up there so far.
I agree. I think he'll do good things. I think he's 60, 61, so he's probably got a good 10 years and he can turn that program around.
Oh, yeah. And this is his second stint there, isn't it?
It is, yep.
That's what I thought. Because he left there and went to somewhere and went to Ohio State for defensive something and then went back.
Yep. Yeah, I think they got the right guy there for now. So it's nice to see. It's nice to see little teams like that. But again, man, we're Michigan. You expect better to give up 42 points to Rutgers, man. This is a 7th straight game where Michigan defense has allowed 24 points or more, and I think that's a record. And reading, I read a little thing on ESPN. It said based on ESPN's efficiency, Michigan's defense is ranked 98th in Division I football.
They shouldn't even be that high.
I mean, what happened? What happened to Brown? How does this? Are teams just scheming differently against him and he doesn't know how to adjust? Because you can't fall off that quickly from this guy, being top 5 defenses for 5 years and then all of a sudden you're 98th.
I don't know. I agree. I mean, he's had top 25 defenses for the past since he's been there.
Yeah.
Top 10 for the first 3 or 4 years he was there.
Right.
And this year's just been rough. I don't know if it's been the personnel that we actually, we lost. Because we did lose a decent amount to the draft. But again, you've got to be able to have those guys to come in and fill in. Just next guy up, plug and play. You should be able to have depth there, especially at that type of university like Michigan. You should be able to have the depth to where if someone goes out, whether it's to the draft or hurt or whatever, you should be able to put someone in.
Right.
And then to pick right up where they're at. And, they showed the thing, rough start. It's like a 1-3 start, obviously the first time since 1967. But we have allowed, over the last 3 games, 38 points per game, the defense has.
Yep.
And they had lost, obviously before last night, they had lost 5 of the last 6 games.
It's unreal. It's just
it hurts, man. It really does. That's a tough pill to swallow.
Absolutely, man. But they had some big recruits in for the Wisconsin game, and it sounds like there's some good things maybe coming. So keep the fingers crossed. And I don't know, maybe they were thinking, hey, this team's, it's still Michigan. We come here, maybe we have a good chance to play early, but definitely wasn't from anything they saw on the field. We're pulling that way.
Yeah.
But anyway, man, we get out of.
But you know what? Recruits sometimes those recruits, man, they're looking for playing time. They don't want to go to Alabama where, hey, I might have to sit out for 3 years before I get to play. I can come straight in and I can make an impact and I can get my name. I can get seen and get my name out there and show what I've got within the first year, 2 years, possibly even the first year when I get out there. Some of those recruits really like that.
And there's a couple big time cornerbacks in the 2022 class that 2 5-star kids. I think one is maybe top 2 or 3 players in the country, and the other one's maybe top 10. So if you could haul in 2 top 10 cornerbacks, man, that's clearly an area of need. And they can maybe come in and see playing time early because I don't see anybody coming in next year.
We need cornerbacks.
Oh no, my bad. I'm thinking, yeah, man, unreal, isn't it?
Yeah. Like they should be able to look at what's going on right now and be like, dude, I can definitely do better. I should be able to start as soon as I get there.
Anyway, dude, we get out of Piscataway with a 48-42 win. I was happy with the rush defense. Held Rutgers 40 carries, 105 yards. Held Pacheco down 15 carries, 43 yards. But they made Vedra look like Tom Brady, dude. 29 for 43.
No kidding, dude.
381 yards.
380? Yeah.
381 and 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns. I mean, like you said, they made him look like Brady.
It's just unreal, and
that's just the defense. He may have had half of that on that last drive.
Right? It seems like it.
I mean, at least 200 yards on the last drive. Is that possible? If not, I'm pretty sure that it was close.
If it's possible, it would happen against Michigan, that's for sure.
There you go.
But, on our side of the ball, man, we'll touch, McNamara ended up with a really good game. 27 for 36, 260, 4 touchdowns through the air and 1 on the ground. Joe got
great.
Yeah, it looked really good. Team looked really good.
He hit 75% of his passes too.
Yeah, man.
I mean, that's great.
Absolutely.
I love that spark that he gives.
The team responds
he just has
so well.
They do, and they do not do that with Milton.
They don't, man.
Of course, I saw a thing a little bit ago when someone asked post conference, hey, is McNamara going to be your starter going forward? Well, we got to evaluate this. Dude, he never gives this clear answer. And obviously, if he doesn't put McNamara out there, then he's an absolute idiot.
That's one thing that really bothers me about him.
Yeah, he's never straightforward. Like he always dances around the question, and it's like just say it. Like what? First off, again, like you just said, Milton was 5 for 12 for 89 yards, no touchdowns. McNamara, and that was pretty much through half of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Then you take McNamara, who's 29 for 36, completes 75% of his passes for 350 plus yards, 4 touchdowns through the air. Take away the rushing touchdown for overtime. Why? How could you even dispute saying that he's going to start next game?
Yeah.
And even if he has, how could you even say, even if he has a decently bad game, that you would not take him out? Because he has more than doubled what Milton has.
I agree, man. But again, this coaching staff has disappointed us before and surprised us not in a good way before. So some of their decisions I just don't understand. But anyway, it was nice to see.
I got nothing there.
It was nice to see the running game started. Haskins 25 carries, 109 yards, a touchdown.
Yes.
Charbonnet,
we actually had a 100-yard rusher.
Right. Charbonnet only got 6 carries, but had averaged 4.5 a carry.
Right.
So that was nice to see. We ran for a total, 44 carries, 146 yards. And then, a lot of people touched the ball on the receiving end.
They did. There was like 7 or 8.
I think 11. I think 11 people caught passes.
Was it?
Yeah, Cornelius Johnson ended up with 4 catches, 87 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Sanders Still and Eubanks both pitched in with a touchdown. On the defense,
I don't think I looked to see everyone, but I know like the people I did look at had at least there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 7 people that had at least 4 catches.
Right.
And that's Evans had 1. A few others had 1. But I mean that's great, spreading it around, getting everybody involved.
We still, the defensive line or the defense in general, still only had 2 sacks, and one of those came from Josh Ross.
Yeah, but that's tough, man. When you got Hutchinson, your big guys out. I mean, Quiddy Pay and Hutchinson both are still out.
It
goes out.
It's tough. It is tough.
It
but
is.
It's
like
Michigan,
we've got so many injuries out there, and for one, like I said, it's tough because you expect the next person to step up and be able to fill that spot,
right?
With no issues whatsoever. But apparently, they just don't have that up there right now because the people who are out, and it's like we're scrambling trying to find someone to fill that spot.
And that's the thing. Right now, I mean, this is year 6. You got to have that. That's an issue. You
should have that.
That's an issue.
There's no reason.
Clemson has that. Ohio State has that. Alabama has that. Notre Dame has that. You got to have it. You have to develop these kids to where they're ready to step in. We're playing walk-ons. There's walk-ons that are playing. And good for them. I'm not saying they're not good players. But, in year 6, should Jess Spate be playing? I mean, I don't know. He's played a little bit the last couple weeks. But you got to have that next guy. Again, 2 sacks. Ross, and a big one from Hinton. Christopher Hinton. He looked pretty good. He only had 3 tackles. But he had a tackle for loss and a sack. I thought he looked pretty good, played pretty well. I was just, defensively, I was just really disappointed in Daxton Hill. I thought that was his worst game of the year, maybe the worst game I've ever seen him play.
Yep. I completely agree.
But, hey, man, we'll take the win. Obviously we touched on Nordine already. 0 for 3, 2 for 8 as a team on the year. I think he's 2 for 5, and Moody's 0 for 3. Just brutal. I mean, I am going to skip ahead and please go ahead and give my Seth Brookhuizen Award. Whether it's my turn or your turn, the odds are that we're probably going to agree on this. Is that the Seth Brookhuizen Award this week goes to Quinn Nordine for missing the field goals. Yes, one was not his fault, but you still missed 2 gimme field goals. And your old scholarship. Dude, you are a scholarship kicker. Get your crap together. It's tough to watch.
It's hard.
It really is tough to watch. But like I said, man, we got out of there with a win. I'll take it. Maybe this starts something for the rest of the year. If we can win, at least the next couple games and make it to 4-3 before we get obliterated in that last game of the year. Go out with a 4-4 record in what's been a weird year anyway. After that crappy start, I'll take 4-4. I hate to say that, but at this point, it's pretty much all we hope for. Who do you got as far as Michigan Rutgers players of the game?
For an offensive player of the game, obviously, I've got to go Cade McNamara. I mean, I could go Cornelius Johnson. He had a couple touchdowns and pretty good stats. 5 for 105 and 2 touchdowns. But for Cade to come in, at halfway point basically through that game and create that spark, and in a half of the game, he goes 260 yards through the air, 4 touchdowns. I really hope he can keep that up, for the rest of the season. And because he really provides that spark that they need to get that team moving. And those other kids, they really feed off that. And so my player of the game as far as Michigan's concerned is Cade McNamara.
I think so too. I think him, and I think Giles Jackson actually. I think Jackson's big. He had a big catch late in the game, but the kickoff return to start the second half kind of turned the momentum a little bit. So I think Cade was definitely the player of the game, but I think Jackson, is right behind him. As far as
I can agree with that.
As far as defensively, there was nobody who really stood out to me on defense for us. I mean, kind of much of the same, to be honest with you. especially the defensive
Yeah.
backfield. There's nobody there, so I would have to give that to Olakunle Fadukasi for Rutgers. Dude, that guy was absolutely everywhere.
He was.
They called his name.
They kept saying and they kept saying his name, and I was like, I don't even know how to say that, but
I
keep hearing it.
Yeah, I think James Laurinaitis just liked to say it. I think that's why he kept saying it. And I'll say,
Is that what it was?
I'll say that announce crew did a really good job. I really like listening to Laurinaitis.
Yeah, I thought he did too.
And fellow Will or something like that was the guy with him. I thought he did a good job. But Fadukasi, dude, 15 total tackles, 6 solo tackles, 2 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss, and a pass defense. 1 quarterback hurry. I mean, he was all up in Milton and McNamara all night long.
I agree. Completely agree with that one.
He's a bruiser, but I think he played well. But again, you know, our defense, man, I know you gave the Brookhuizen Award earlier. I think same thing. I think, you know, with Nordine there, we got to get that shirt up, man. 2 for 8 as a field goal,
That's
unit.
Terrible, man. It's terrible.
I mean, it takes it back to the Rich Rod days when they were 4 for 14 that year. Rich's first year. It's like, man,
which is the reason we have the Seth Brookhuizen Award to begin with.
Right? They're on pace to be worse. They're on pace to be 4 for 16.
Oh, don't say that. Oh, that's terrible.
Just awful, man. But
we'll have to change it to the Nordine Award.
That's a couple years down the road if we're still doing it. Well, let's go around a little bit more of the Big Ten. Man, Northwestern, what is going on with Northwestern's defense? They held Wisconsin to 7 points after Wisconsin went in and steamrolled Michigan in the Big House. They come out and kind of laid an egg. Wisconsin goes down, to Northwestern 17-7. One stat I saw, man, it was pretty cool to think. Northwestern has been an underdog 27 straight times versus Wisconsin, and they won 13 of those games outright.
Really?
Isn't that crazy?
Northwestern just got their number, man.
And they said since the East-West split there in the Big Ten, Northwestern has beaten Wisconsin 4 times. They're 4-3 against them. The other 5 teams in the West are 3-28.
Wow.
Isn't that a weird stat to think it'd be Northwestern?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've last few weeks we've always touched on Northwestern because, like you said, they're your next favorite team. I really like Pat Fitzgerald as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think he does a great job up there, and it's a tough place to play because for one, with Northwestern, they're the higher GPA of the Big Ten. So you've got to have it together when it comes to playing at Northwestern. And, it's kind of like at Stanford where it's like you have to have that GPA so you don't always get the super great athletes that you get at some of these other places. So in my opinion, I really feel that it's harder at Northwestern because you not only have to have these great athletes, but you have to have these great athletes who have the grades.
For sure.
And can keep that GPA, but they went in there and they did what they needed to do. They were who they thought they were.
That's right.
That one. I love that guy.
And
no, actually, I hate it because I actually took Wisconsin on the card.
Yeah,
I bet against Northwestern and they got me. So it happens.
To touch on that Northwestern and the GPA, man, we had a kid from Wellston here. Jalen Prater went and played.
I know. I remember that. I remember you talking about that, and that's actually one of the reasons that I kind of even watched them more than in the last 4 or 5 years, just because of that. Because it's obviously not that often that kids from, you do have a few, obviously, like Burrow and some of these other kids, but it's tough. And for a kid from Wellston, where we grew up, to not only have the athleticism, but also the grades to play and at Northwestern, that's a tough feat, and I applaud anyone who can do it.
Absolutely, man. And segueing for a second, you said Burrow. Did you see what happened to him today?
I did. Yeah. Unfortunately,
ACL, man, gone for the season.
Yeah. If only the Bengals would just get a line. I'm sorry. I know you spend your first draft pick on your quarterback, and that's great. But if you don't have a line to protect him and open holes for your running back, you've got nothing. I don't care if you can put a 5-star running back behind a 3-star line, and he is not going to do anything. But if you can put a 3-star running back behind a 5-star line, he's going to run the ball all day long.
Absolutely, man. Well, back to Wisconsin Northwestern here with. That's all right, man. That's all right. I was the one who brought that up, so I want to touch on it a little bit. I hate to see it for the kid. Obviously, rookie year coming in. That's just such a Bengal move. You know what I mean?
It is. And you got high spirits because I don't know if you saw his tweet. He said, "I'll see you next year."
Right.
It's just hard seeing that, man. This kid's so young and has had such a great year considering the odds that he's been placed against him and everything. I hate it for anyone to get hurt, but especially, someone who I'm obviously rooting for just because he's a local kid. And, I try to root for the Bengals too, just because I like to see him do good. But it's tough.
Well, with back to the Northwestern game, man. Listen to these stats and tell me who you think won this game. One team had the ball for 37 minutes. The other team had the ball for 23. One team put up 366 yards. The other team put up 263 yards. So you would think the 366 and 37 minutes won the game, but that was just opposite, dude. I mean, Wisconsin had 5 turnovers. Mertz did not look good at all. He had 3 interceptions and a fumble loss.
There's your problem right there. I think I saw a stat where they had four turnovers in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough to come back for. I don't care if you are Tom Brady.
And they're nicked up.
Or whoever you are. I mean, that's
sure.
Tough to come back for. You get 4 turnovers. Even if they get 4 field goals off of that, that's 12 points. Not to mention if they can get a touchdown off of 1 or 2 of those, you're talking 14 and 20-point difference.
Right.
Possibly.
And talking about Wisconsin, they're banged up as well. Like Michigan is on the offensive line. Wisconsin has some big time playmakers that are down, but again, man, just a brutal game. Some of those, at least one of the interceptions Mertz threw was not good. One was a tip that I remember seeing.
Okay, but I didn't see any of it. I'm just going by stats. And 4 turnovers and a half. That's going to cripple just about anybody.
And Ramsey, Peyton Ramsey with Northwestern's quarterback this year didn't do anything spectacular. 23 for 44, 203 yards, 2 touchdowns. But he just managed the game, man. That's all he had to do, and he did it well. And Northwestern, like I said, they knock off a top-ranked Wisconsin team. So kudos to them. Going back to Friday night, Minnesota finally gets off the schneid there. They're 2-3 now. They beat Purdue 34-31 on a very controversial call. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I did not.
Plummer for the quarterback for Purdue, man, great game. 35 for 42, 367, 3 TDs, threw a touchdown pass to Payne Durham, the tight end, with like less than a minute to go, and it got called back for offensive pass interference. And you go back and watch it, and
bad call.
In some shots, you see an arm extended. I don't know if you call that there. I don't know if it was. I don't know, but anyway, it ended up 34-31 Minnesota. Our boy Mohamed Ibrahim, 25 carries, 110 yards, 25 for 102, 3 more touchdowns. So I think that gives him 13 rushing touchdowns on the year.
Dude, I'm telling you, he's a beast, man.
He's a beast for sure. I'd take him any day. Going into Indiana, going into Columbus. That game ended up closer than I expected. I figured that would be a blowout, and it only.
I did see that the good bit of that game, and even though we lost Indiana, I was pretty impressed with the way they played. It came down to pretty late in the game. Or was it 42-35, something like that?
42-35.
Yeah, and they had the ball going, and I was like, well, they got a chance here, and obviously they didn't get it, but still to throw up 35 points on the Buckeye defense. That's again, that shows you, just like we've talked about, there are some holes in there if you can find them.
Absolutely. And I think that just shows how, not weak, but there's, like you said, there's holes in that Buckeye secondary, and it's kind of been obvious all year. Teams are putting up points. They're getting beat because they can, Ohio State can score pretty much at will.
Right.
So for Indiana to put up 35, Penix came in and played. Look, I started I was working, obviously, and patients all had the TVs on. So I saw a couple plays early on, and Penix was 5 for 14. I'm like, well, he's going to have a terrible day. You know, I find out that Ohio State's up 28-7.5. I don't even watch any of it. I just kind of read the highlights and watch the highlights. Penix ended up 27 for 51 for 491 and 5 touchdowns.
Yes. He really turned it on. He really turned it on in the second half. And I think I saw was it 491? Because I was thinking that he was at like 495 before the last play. And of course they threw it down maybe 6 or 7 yards, and then they of course tossed it back. But still, I mean, you throw for almost 500 yards against that defense.
Right. It looked like, it was a pretty crappy day from what I saw. It looked like it was raining here and there. Fields ended up 18 for 30, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 3 big picks. I think this really hurts him in the Heisman race. I had him top 3. Last week we talked about Trask, in my opinion, took over that number 1 spot. I think this kind of widens that gap a little bit. Master T had a heck of a game, 26 for 169, 2 TDs. I'll tell you who's really impressing me, dude. Ty Freifogel for Indiana. Did you see his numbers? 7 catches, 218 yards, 3 touchdowns.
I did. You sent me that was it a tweet that said something about he had what he had against Michigan. Like, if you thought that was bad,
right?
Like, it was like double or triple again today. Yesterday, because it was like 3 touchdowns and like twice the amount of yardage.
It was crazy, dude.
Like, dude, he's a beast.
In the last 3 games, he has 22 catches for 560 yards.
That's insane. How many touchdowns?
You know what? I don't have that written down.
At least 4. At least we had 3 yesterday.
Yeah.
And he had one the week before.
Yeah, he's got 4 or 5.
That's at least 4 or 5. Yeah, that's insane.
Put that into perspective, dude. Michigan's leading receiver this year, Ronnie Bell, has 361 yards receiving all year.
So he's got 150 and probably 2 or 3 more touchdowns.
Yeah. He's got 200, exactly, 199 more yards, and yeah, that's nuts. But, obviously tough to go into Ohio State and win. Indiana, again, I thought it was going to be a blowout. I think that the interceptions from Fields kind of kept Indiana in the game. Buckeyes' rush defense continues to be superb. Indiana rushed for -1 yard.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Moving on to Illinois. Illinois got a win over Nebraska in a battle of who cares. Illinois.
You couldn't have put that any better.
Dude, Illinois won 41-23. Illinois is 2-3. Nebraska 1-3. Brandon Peters was back from COVID. He went 18 for 25.
I did see that. He actually had a decent game.
Yeah, not bad. 18 for 25, 205 and a TD. Luke McCaffrey with Nebraska. I don't know if you've seen him play yet. I like watching the kid play.
I have not seen him yet.
Just watching their game last week, I told Dad, I said, man, the kid can't throw very well yet. He's an undersized guy, and just watching him try to throw, it's almost like the ball looks too big for him,
Really? But I haven't seen it yet.
He struggled through the air, 15 for 26, 134 yards, 3 picks, but on the ground, ran the ball 26 times for 122 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, he's kind of a dual threat, but he's got to learn to throw the ball a little bit better.
What you're saying is he needs to be a running back, not a quarterback.
Well, he was kind of a little scat back. He didn't start the year as their quarterback. Martinez did, but
he's still there.
Different Martinez. There's been like 2.
I was gonna say, because if he's still there, that's like his 7th year.
This one, it didn't shock me, but I picked against him. I thought Penn State would beat Iowa, and that just, man, Penn State disarray. They get beat 41-21. Go to 0 for 5 on the year. This is the first time in their history that they've been 0-5.
Really?
Yeah. They started the Levis, I think is his name, the backup. They started him again this week. He was 13 for 16 for 106 yards. I don't know if he got hurt or what, but Clifford came back in, 13 for 22, 174 yards, 2 TDs, 2 picks. But man,
it's surprising because I was actually, when I was looking out, I looked at that game and I was like, Iowa and Penn State. I don't remember what the spread was, but it wasn't huge. And I was like, yeah, there's no way. I was like, I'm not. I was going to take Iowa, but I was like, Penn State at home, they're on a bad skid. Like they're going to turn it around and win this game.
I thought so. I
did not play that game.
I don't know what's going on up there. They ran the ball 35 times for 62 yards, and the two quarterbacks, Levis and Clifford, had 47 of those 62. So I don't know what's going on up there. They had 4 turnovers. They're a beaten team right now, which hopefully that continues into next week. Obviously, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Right.
Michigan State, Maryland game canceled. I touched on Kyle Trask a little bit earlier. This kid's just lights out. If you get a chance to watch Florida play.
Yeah. I didn't get to see it. How did he do this weekend? I didn't get to see it.
26 for 35, 383, and 3 touchdowns. Florida beat Vandy 38-17. Big thing was his streak of he had 6 straight games with 4 TD passes or more, and that ended. But man, 4 TD passes in 6 straight games is pretty daggone impressive. So
absolutely. But I really expect, if anything, I would have expected him to continue it against Vanderbilt because they obviously not a big. They're probably one of the lower teams of the SEC. So I would expect him to, if he was going to continue that streak, that would be a game I would expect him to continue it against.
Well, the young quarterback came in and played a lot of the game too, so he didn't have as many opportunities as he would have. But
makes sense.
For the year, 2,554 yards, 31 touchdowns, 3 picks. Again, he's my clear leader. There's a guy from BYU, their quarterback, Zach Wilson, who's getting a lot of love right now. He's thrown for 2,724 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. And he's got BYU at 9-0, man. So they're playing well, but, the competition that BYU plays, it's always hard to put somebody from a school like that in the same category with guys who are playing, big dogs night in, night out.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm pretty sure BYU is independent right now, but still, they are obviously not playing the level of talent that Florida is.
Exactly.
Now, when you have to go against Georgia and Alabama, some of these other
for sure
schools, it's not even close.
Well, obviously, the AP rankings are out today. We got a couple Big Ten teams in there. Ohio State still ranked at number 3. We got Northwestern at 11. I think that's their highest ranking in like 20 or 25 years. Indiana's still in the top 15. They're at number 12. Wisconsin, after their loss to Northwestern, dropped to number 18. So that's the Big Ten representation in the AP top 25. The top 4 is still Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Clemson, with Texas A&M and Florida kind of right on their heels.
That sounds pretty good.
Am I boring you, man? I'm sorry.
I agree with that. No, you're not.
But, all right, man. Well, we got an 0-5, a beaten-up Penn State team coming into Ann Arbor next week. Give me your thoughts. Give me your predictions.
All right. Can you hear me?
I got you.
All right. I dropped you on speaker since we're going to talk about the game next week because Adam's sitting here and he's waiting to give his prediction.
All right, Adam. Bring it hot, buddy.
Penn State next week?
Yeah, we got Penn State next week. They're 0-5. Obviously we're not much. Well, obviously not 0-5, but we're not much better. 2-3. I really hope with this game and the end of the last game that Cade can continue what he's doing. I haven't got to see much of Penn State at all this year, but being 0-5 and obviously they're in shambles, I'm going to hope to say that we can put together some good drives, maybe play a little bit of defense. That's a big maybe there. That's going to be the question. But I'm going to hope and say that Michigan's going to win, and I'm going to go with I'm going to say 31-17.
Oh wow! Okay, got a two score win. It's been a long time since we've seen one of those.
I'm hoping. I'm going big and getting some optimism here.
I like it, man. Henry Rollins once said, "Hope is the last thing you do before you're defeated." So hopefully that's not the case here, but I'm gonna hope with you. So hopefully that it turns out like that. Adam, what do you got, buddy? What's your prediction?
Come close. That way I can hear you.
Penn State is 0-5. and Michigan's not doing well either. But I hope we can come together. Cade needs to keep doing what he's doing. He's got potential. He is a superstar. They need to keep doing what they're doing. Put together some good drives. I got Michigan 28-13.
Oh, okay. Nice. You guys got the defense. You guys are giving the defense a lot of credit here. I like it.
That's probably because Penn State hasn't won anything.
That's why it scares me. I think I would much rather be playing a Penn State team that was 2-3 or 3-2 than playing a Penn State team that's 0-5. Because then you go in thinking, it's kind of a no-win situation. You beat a team that was 0-5, great. Or man, you just got beat by a team that's 0-5.
Right. The only reason I really did that was because, like I said, I was going to take Penn State this week because I was like, they're playing Iowa, they're at Happy Valley, they're 0-4, like they're going to get something together and they're going to turn it around and at least get a win. And then they did not. So I was like, oh, that just if that doesn't, if they can't do it there, I got much else to say about them. So I'm hoping that we can go do what we need to do.
Unfortunately, I think Michigan's streak of letting up 24 points a game, this will be the 8th straight game. I think it continues, but I think we do get the win. I think with Cade's going to start, he's got to start. If he doesn't, there's going to be just an outpour of just – I don't even want to think about it. I think that Harbaugh sees it. I think he knows, okay, this is the guy now. There's got to be a lot of pressure coming from within. Like, hey, dude, you got to put this kid back there. It's just not working out with Milton. Unfortunately, Milton seems like a good kid, but right now he's not ready for the opportunity that's been given. And maybe he'll never be. Maybe he's a kid who transfers after this season and goes maybe to a little smaller school and has success. I don't know. But I think we give up that 24, but I think we also put up 34. So I'm going to say Michigan 34, Penn State 24. So we even that record up at 3-3, with a couple games left. And hopefully we can end up 4-4 this year. That's kind of my goal anyway.
Well, that's a good. I hate for that to even be the goal, but at this point, it's a decent goal.
2020 is just a ridiculous year anyway, and you got all these kids opting out, you got all these kids hurt. You're watching a team that's lacking a lot of fire, but hopefully this changing quarterback, what we saw in that last 34 minutes of the game looked a lot different than what we saw in the previous 4 games. So we'll see.
I completely agree. What I've seen from him so far is by far leaps and bounds ahead of what Milton has done this season.
I agree, man. I'm not ready to anoint him, a star yet, but I like what I've seen. So,
but he's obviously better than what we've had so far this year.
Well, man, let's we'll wrap it up here. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Adam, for getting on here and giving your pick again, and we'll do it again next week. Hopefully, again, it's coming back from a big win. Until next week's show, go Blue.
Go Blue.
Go Blue.
All right, guys, that's this week's episode. As always, Bub and I want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening. We appreciate those that continue to tune in each week. A couple people each week will message me out of the blue and let me know that they've listened, and we really appreciate that. Any comments, any questions, any suggestions you guys might have, shoot them to me, and we'll see what we can do. In the process, hopefully in the future, to get some guests on here to talk a little bit too, but that's not always easy rounding people up. So hopefully soon. But just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Enjoy it. It's going to be kind of a weird one this year. We can't really get out and be with your family, but be safe. Take care. God bless. And we'll be back next week with the 22nd episode of Brent Ewing's Hey Buddy podcast.